Popular books that business owners tend to pick up. One is the E-Myth around building systems in your business so you can extricate yourself from the business. Another one is the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which is another really popular book about creating a lifestyle that you desire. And I guess the most important thing for me to share with you right now is for you to check in with, why did you actually get into business? Why did you choose to be a business owner? Why did you choose to manage and run things yourself? For some people, they have a chip on their shoulder about their parents or the system or the bully at school or whatever it is. For others, it's just a natural progression in your chosen profession to start as a sole operator. And then some people have the ambition to grow something into a business, so it's not them exchanging their time for money all the time. But everything starts with you. And so I would say, if you were to dream, what is the dream life for yourself? What is the dream life for you? And will you give yourself permission to actually have that life? Because you need to first do that before we can actually go into the practicals of then moving your business to a remote work business. The reality now is that we have very powerful tools to be able to work anywhere from any device. And if you're a member of our group, the Google Workspace community, where this video is live, you would know all about Google Workspace and its benefits. And so I don't need to pitch or sell you on that. What I will say though is most businesses, or many businesses that we work with who are already utilizing Google Workspace, formerly G Suite, are not quite using it to the best of their ability. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of tools and features and options inside of Google Workspace which are very powerful that not everyone kind of knows that they exist. And so our business's whole aim is to not only help businesses discover Google Workspace, but once someone's actually had Google Workspace implemented in their business, we want to help you get the most out of your investment so that you're actually using all of the tools to the best of their ability and they are supporting your business strategy. Now, not only that, but we want to help you with remote work tools that are plugging into your Google Workspace account. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those, so I won't spoil that one just yet. So we have these amazing tools in front of us right now. It's time that we actually started using them. And businesses, when they go from being a non-remote business to an actual remote business, go through a number of different stages. And so these tools are going to enable us to move along the journey of a remote business. So this is a scale. It's put together by a company called Buffer, which is a social media company, but very public about their remoteness business. They blog about how they all work remotely from different locations. And you'll see here from one end of the spectrum being completely office-based, everyone works in one place. I don't think they kind of exist right now after COVID. And number 5, being completely distributed with people, basically nomading it all around the world. And as I said, I don't want you guys to try and get to like level 5. That's not the goal here. The goal here is hopefully we can inspire and support you to move at least one step to the right, to get a little bit more remote and a little bit more flexible. But not only is this about your team being flexible, this is about you being flexible as the business owner. Now, interestingly, a couple of really quite large businesses that have gone not quite completely remote, but at least remote in a pretty substantial way. One is Atlassian. They've got thousands of employees all over the world. Their largest office I think they've got 8 offices worldwide. Their largest office is Sydney. Second largest office is San Francisco. Third largest office by number of people is their remote workforce. And so a multi-billion-dollar company, huge Australian success story in the tech space. Don't worry if you don't know about them, because they create tools for developers and tools for IT businesses. And so, less relevant to most of the general public. But another pretty cool example here is GitHub. This one is over 100 staff, primarily working remotely, and Microsoft bought them for, I don't know how many tens of billions of dollars it was. It was ridiculous amounts of money. And so there's also, during COVID, been a list compiled of all of the businesses who have created a permanent work from home option for their staff after COVID. And I believe Google have also just been added to this list as well, if they weren't already. You can see that large corporates are now actually taking advantage of this. And interestingly, if you're based in Australia, I know for a fact that ANZ Bank actually have most of their call center employees are working from home. So they're primarily in the Melbourne region. I don't know why, but all of their employees who are in the call center actually work from home. So they have a VoIP phone sitting on their desk, it may also be on their computer, and they have a quiet space and they work from home, which is pretty damn groovy. So I'm interested to know if you knew about any of those, or if there are any other companies that you know that are working remotely. You might be interested to pop those down in the comments. Tools that you'll need to work in the cloud, and tools for you to work location independently. So these are really going to be the tricks of the trade for you to make sure that you can work from wherever you are. Number 1 is obviously Google Workspace. This is the foundational tool that allows us to do everything that we need to do. If you're inside our group, if you're watching the live stream, you know all about this. And if you're on our YouTube channel, then you'll know possibly a little bit about Google Workspace, but this is a collection of business tools that allow you to get everything done. Now, one of the things that we find is many businesses, as they're going through their growth scale and they're going through the different stages of business growth, they start to run into subscription fatigue. And that particularly happens around businesses that are in growth stage. When you're a startup, business owners very often have bright, shiny object syndrome, and they're signing up for a million different apps. They've got Zoom over here, they've got Skype over there, they've got Slack for their instant messaging, they've got all these different tools from different vendors, and that kind of works when you're a solopreneur and you're just excited and kind of getting started. But once you hit growth mode, you start to run into problems in that you need to have a consistent technology set up across all of your team so that when you're onboarding staff, it's nice and easy and efficient. But secondly, you don't want to break the bank with a million different $10 or $20 or $30 a month subscriptions for each one of your staff members as you start to grow the team, because that can get very darn expensive. And so what we really love about Google Workspace is, as Google says, it's all your tools and all your work in one place. Amazing mail, calendar, meetings, file storage, documents. And yes, while they don't have every single bell and whistle and button that Microsoft have in their documents, well, Google get you 90% of the way there. Yes, Google Chat doesn't have every single feature that Slack has, but it'll get you 90% of the way there. Google Meet does not have every single feature that Zoom has, but it will get you now 95% of the way there, because boy, have Google put some updates into Google Meet this year. And it feels like every single week there's more updates coming out, some of which I will talk about in just a second. And so one of the things that I really love about what Google have been putting their effort into is this concept of everything in one place. And the new Google layout inside of Gmail allows you to access your calendar, allows you to access your chat. You can access Google Voice if you're outside Australia and have access to that. And you can see here on the right-hand column, we've got all the different areas of the business that we need to get access to. Even things like Google Keep. I see business owners trying to be productive, but they're still using Evernote. Google Keep will do 95% of what Evernote will do. Why would you use the non-Google tools when not only do you have all the Google tools for free as part of your subscription to Workspace, it's also just less mental bandwidth when you have less things to think about. And I'm a minimalist at heart, and that doesn't mean that I sit in an empty room by myself and meditate or twiddle my thumbs all day. What it actually means is I do less of the complicated things, so I have more time for the things that I love. And I've, over an extreme period of time and much, coaching and training and personal intention, I've got my workday down to 3 days a week, and it's pretty chill. Now, of course, I had to build a business that was able to impart work without me for that. But having 4-day weekends is a result of a continued effort in lifestyle design and building good systems and practices inside the business, which is what we aim to teach you guys. So if you're not yet a member of Genius Academy, we've got amazing content in there, and how we run our remote teams, how we hire staff in the Philippines, how we grow and build a remote company completely without an office and completely remotely, and everyone working from home. And of course, we have other videos on our channel if you're interested in checking those out. There's another feature here that is coming very soon if it's not yet dropped in for you, and that is when you're working on a presentation, being able to have a Google Meet running concurrently there in the side panel. And we often find that this is the case inside IT Genius. All of our meetings run internally with Google Meet because it's just the easiest thing for us. When we create a calendar event, automatically it's going to drop into Google Meet. And when we're collaborating on a document, like for example, half an hour before this live, we're putting the final touches on our slides, myself and my marketing manager. What we will do is we'll actually be in a meeting, and then inside that meeting, we will be working on a document together and collaborating on that document. And for anyone who's still using Microsoft Word for that proposal document, just because I like the way that the background images can use a gradient, and you can't do that inside of Google, or whatever your excuse is, I would implore you to consider how much more work could you get done if you were delegating the task of putting the proposal together to somebody else that wasn't you, and then you were just reviewing it on a video call. It's the difference between doing something yourself for half an hour or reviewing someone else's work for 5 or 10 minutes. And if you can get 3x on your time just from changing a document format and learning a slightly different way of working, then I'd strongly recommend you consider that, because that's a pretty good return on your investment. Another great thing that Google is really good at is obviously search. And so this is a little stat here that 75% of workers believe they miss out on important information. And I think that's a little bit obtuse, maybe a little bit vague about what they're actually talking about here, but what that kind of makes me think about is two great tools inside of Google Workspace. One is Google Cloud Search, and so if you've not used that before, it's at cloudsearch.google.com. And Cloud Search will let you actually see all the documents and basically everything in your business from one search panel. So you can search across your email, documents, Google Keep Notes, Google Sites. Basically everything within your Google Workspace account is searchable from right within here inside of Cloud Search.